Hello everybody. It's lovely to be with you again. It is really lovely. I was realising that I wouldn't have anywhere near as much fun dressing these babies if I didn't get to show off once they're in their outfits. And here we go again. It's not central. Let me just move that. I don't know why that happens. I'm so careful, I think, getting it all set up before I start. That's not so bad. It's a bit more space next to John T, isn't there? I know you guys don't care, but there we are. Now I'm happy. So yeah, I just realised that half the fun of changing the babies is getting to show you on YouTube what they're wearing now. And if I didn't get to do that, it wouldn't be anywhere near as much fun. I probably wouldn't even bother. I know that's a bit shocking to say. And now I see that Pippa's tummy is crooked. No, I can't bear that. It has to be straight, doesn't it? Because she's not a real baby, so I can have everything exactly how I like it. Of course, with real babies, you never get to do that. Everything's always a bit wonky or a bit messy or, all that stuff. But now I'm happy she's all organised. So let me tell you about what they're wearing. Oh, I'll tell you first that it's Sunday afternoon. Here, it's about 2 o'clock or something, 2:15. And it's a bit grey, but the rain stopped, which is very nice for a change. So the rain stopped, it's warm and humid, and it's just an okay day. Good for filming babies, I think. Good for changing and filming babies. So I want to tell you now, I can tell you about their outfits, which are 2 very similar outfits, matching outfits, and they're just made of fine knit cotton, like a proper knit, not like t-shirt material. Excuse me, I just have to clear my throat again. It keeps going silly. Sorry about that. Yeah, so just a lovely fine knit cotton, and they're the Bonds brand, which I think is only in Australia. And for a change, they're not like this year. All the Bonds stuff is like fluoro, and I'm not keen on fluoro, so I haven't been really buying anything except for a couple of little sets of beanies, beanie socks and mittens. I haven't been buying any Bond stuff, and then I just came across these, and it was buy 2 get whatever percentage it was. I can't remember. Get maybe 25% off. And so I thought, well, that's very handy because I've got 2 babies to buy for. So I did, and I started off looking at the little cardigans, and then I noticed that they had the little pants, and the pink pants there was only 1 pair left, and it was the newborn size, and that was perfect. And Jonty, there were a few of his. His colour is actually sort of I don't know what you would call it. It's like a sagey, greeny, I don't know what colour. It's definitely a shade of green. I just don't know exactly which type of green. But before I go on about these outfits any further, let me describe them. They both have little pants on that don't have any feet attached, so the feet are out. And for Sue and me, I haven't put any socks on because we love their feet. So their feet are showing, and Pippa's pants are pink, and Jonty's pants are this, green colour that I can't describe. And they've both got little cardies on that are white, and Jonty's cardie is striped with the same green, and they have 3 buttons up the front. And Pippa's is white with pink stripes and 3 buttons up the front. And they're very cute. The cardies are big, but they look cute. And the pants fit perfectly, I think, because their little legs are so bent. You need a bit of extra room in them. So they look gorgeous, and they've both got their dummies in. They've got matching dummies to each other, although Jonty's dummy doesn't match his outfit because it's blue, but that doesn't matter. So I bought these outfits. I brought them home, and I was just folding them, and I noticed that there was an awful big black mark on the left leg of Pippa's pink pants, and I thought, oh no, it looked like it was a grease stain or something, like a dirty tyre had run over it or something like that. And I thought, that's not going to come out. And then I thought, well, there wasn't another one, so if I return it, they won't have matching full outfits and blah blah blah. So I thought, oh, I hate wasting my money, but what I did was I soaked her pants for 2 days, and then I scrubbed them, and the mark came out completely, and I'm so happy because now they have got their outfits and no one knows that there was a big grease, yucky, whatever it was, mark on her pants. So that was good. That was a good result, wasn't it, girls and boys? I'm happy about that. Oh, I better mention their beautiful jelly cat, because he slash she is just between the two of them as usual, and they look gorgeous. They're both peacefully resting and very happy with each other. So that's the story of those outfits, which, yeah, I don't even know how I didn't notice the mark, because I'm pretty fussy I'm very fussy when I buy stuff. Jen always teases me that I have to choose the third thing back in the row of stuff to make sure that it's the untouched one and everything's good on it. But I guess this time there was only one pink and I just grabbed it quickly and went up to the counter, but I don't even know how I didn't notice it up at the counter and why the girl who was folding it didn't see it. But I'm glad we didn't know, because I wouldn't have bought it. So yeah, it turned out good. So this is their outfits now. Just want to tell you a little bit about my week. It's been just a very busy week as usual, but I can't remember which day I got a phone call. Might have been Monday. I got a phone call from my friend Jen, who I just talked about, who when we shop she teases me because of my fussiness, but she's just as fussy as me. I don't know why she teases me. Anyway, I got a phone call from Jen to say that she was in hospital, and my thought was, oh good heavens, what's up? And it turns out that she'd had an attack of diverticulitis, which she's had before, but this was a really serious attack, and it actually started while they were at a wedding down on the south coast, which the wedding was probably about 2 hours drive away from home, and it started there, and she ended up going to the local hospital, and they put her on antibiotics, and I'm not sure if she stayed in hospital for a while there, but obviously they couldn't go back to the wedding, she was too sick. And she came home, and then on Monday, so I think that happened on Saturday, and I think she started to get better, but then on Monday she got much worse. By the end of the day she was really bad and actually had to have an ambulance take her to hospital. So maybe it was Tuesday that she rang me. Could have been. Sorry guys, I know it's not relevant to you. Anyway, so she rang from hospital and she was telling me all the things that had happened, the timeline and medication and tests and all that stuff that she'd had. And I was fine with all of that, because I'm always interested in medical stuff. I started my studying life doing medicine, and then I got married and started having children, so that was the end of that. I did go back and study science part-time. I did psychology and physiology, and then we moved overseas over to England, and that was kind of the end of that. And by then, the number of children I was having was building up. And anyway, so I've always been really interested in medical stuff since I was a tiny girl. Actually, I remember a few things that stood out to me maybe I'll tell you them now. I hope they won't be too boring. But I can remember that one time I went to the barber's with my brother and sat waiting while he got his hair cut. And I was reading through a magazine that, I don't know if you guys had them in other countries, but we had it here. It was called, I think, People magazine. It was kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, it's a bit of a, excuse me, this voice, a bit of a dodgy magazine, I think. We didn't have them at home or anything. So I was leafing through this magazine, and there was an article in it, so I was obviously able to read. I don't know, maybe I was 8 or 9 or something like that. And there was an article about a little boy who couldn't feel pain, and so when he broke a bone or when he fell over, he didn't know anything had happened to him. And I was really fascinated with that, very interested. Not in a ghoulish way, but in a wow, how amazing kind of way, and I wonder why that happens, and I wonder what's going on in his body and all that kind of stuff. And then there was a local family who had 3 sons, and their youngest son was autistic, and he was severely autistic to the point where he couldn't actually wear clothes because they hurt his skin. He used to wear his mum's silk nightie, and his name was Hal. And I can remember being very fascinated and curious about what all that meant. And so yeah, there were two things that stood out to me, two medical type things that, I think sometimes you're born with interests that are already sort of in you. And that's why I remember those things so well, because I was so interested. Anyway, so going back to the story. So while Jen was telling me about her tests and her medications and that kind of thing, I was fine. I was, questioning and, adding to the conversation, and on it went. And then there was a knock on her door, because luckily she got a private room, and there was a knock on the door, and a lady came in, and Jen just said, "Oh, that's all liquid, isn't it?" And the lady said yes. And straight away I just started to cry. And that was because the discussion turned from being sort of a clinical one, although it wasn't dispassionate. I was very interested, but it turned from being that kind of discussion into someone looking at my friend Jen in a bed and just thinking that she's just another old lady. And I just got upset, because I thought, that's my friend Jen. She's not just another old lady. Please understand that she's special. And all of a sudden she became my vulnerable friend in a hospital bed, having food brought to her. At that stage she wasn't eating any solids. That's why she asked, is it all liquid? And it was. And anyway, so I started to cry, and I've just been chatting to Jen right just before I started making this video, and she told me she's really well now. Her hemoglobin's fine. She's had a few blood transfusions. I think four blood transfusions, and she's fine. She's going to go home tomorrow. So that was good fun, and I said to her, was I the only person who cried? And she laughed, and she said, yeah, well, yes, you were. And she laughed, and she said, but it's okay, I wasn't worried. I just had my lunch after we hung up, so that was good. She wasn't worried, and I wasn't worried about her. It was more, I'm not sure what it was, if it was a delayed kind of shock reaction, or just that, she's my friend, I don't know. Anyway, she's fine, so that's the end of that story. Probably bored the something off you, I don't know what, bored the pants off you, that's the saying, isn't it? So I'm sorry if I did. But I hope you did like seeing Pippa and John T on this Sunday afternoon. I love looking at them. I just love looking at them. I love to, because I don't really interact with them aside from changing their clothes so that I can make another YouTube video. What I'd love to do is just come into the room and I take the netting back, because I don't know if you know, have I shown you this? Their bassinet actually has, I'll show you now, has this beautiful net, canopy over it, and that's how they normally are, just like that, with the net pulled together. It matches the skirt that goes around the bottom. It's got the same lace on it. I bought it years ago on eBay, just so I'd have it. So what I do is I just come in, I just move the netting back and look at them, and then put the netting back in place so they don't get dusty, and walk out of the room again. And that's all I do with them in between changing their clothes. But I tell you, I just love looking at them. They look so real to me. And I know lots of people don't like bald babies, but to me that's how they look. That's why they look so real, or one of the reasons. Because their skulls, as I've said to you before, are so beautiful. The shape of their heads is just fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Yeah, anyway, I'm rambling now, and I know that gets even more boring than my Jen story. But anyway, it has been lovely to talk to you again. I do look forward to it every time I make a video. And I'm glad that you've joined me and come to see my baby. So thank you very much for being with me. And please remember, just take care and be kind to each other. It makes all the difference to the world. It really does. So thank you, everybody, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.